My fiancée texted, "Wedding's still on, but I'm spending the last few nights before with my ex for closure." I replied, "Do what you need to do." Then I called the venue and canceled everything. She found out at her bachelorette party when the venue called her about the cancellation. And then I, 32 male, got the text from my fiancée, Melody, 28, on a Wednesday afternoon while I was reviewing blueprints at the engineering firm. We were supposed to get married that Saturday, 3 days away. We'd been together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months, and had just closed on our house in Lakewood 6 months ago. The full message read, "Hey babe, just wanted to be transparent with you. Zane reached out and we've been talking. He's going through a rough time with his dad's cancer diagnosis and needs support. I'm going to spend Thursday and Friday night at his place just for closure before our big day. Nothing will happen, I promise. The wedding's still on. Love you." Her ex of 4 years, who she'd sworn she was completely over when we started dating. I read it 3 times, then sat back in my chair for about 2 hours, thinking through everything. The mortgage payments, the wedding deposits, the 3 years we'd built together. The rational part of my brain cataloged the red flags I'd been ignoring. The way she'd compare me to Zane constantly, how she'd hide her phone when texting, the time she said I was lucky she chose me during an argument. Then I picked up my phone and typed back, "Do what you need to do." She responded immediately, "OMG, you're the best. I knew you'd understand. This is why I'm marrying you. So mature and secure. Can't wait to be your wife on Saturday." I put my phone down, told my project manager I was taking a personal day, and started making calls. First call, the mountain resort venue outside Denver. "Hi, this is Hunter Walsh. I have a wedding booked for this Saturday. I need to cancel it." The coordinator sounded shocked. "Oh my, is everything okay? You'll lose your deposit, that's $3,500. "That's fine. Cancel everything, the catering, the flowers, the DJ, all of it." "Sir, are you sure? That's nearly $35,000 in total arrangements." "I'm sure. Please process the cancellation immediately." Second call, the Alaska Cruise honeymoon. Canceled. Lost another $200. The agent tried to talk me through alternatives, but I just needed it done. Third call, my brother Archer, who was my best man. "Arch, wedding's off. Can you let the groomsmen know?" "What? What happened?" I forwarded him the text. He was quiet for a long moment, then, She really thought you'd be cool with that?" "Apparently." "What do you need me to do?" "Already handled it. Just let the guys know. Oh, and if anyone from work asks, just say I'm dealing with some personal stuff." By 6 p.m., everything was canceled. I'd already moved my stuff out of our house while she was at her dental practice. Her bachelorette party was that night. Convenient. Timing. I'd only taken what was mine. Left her engagement ring on the kitchen counter with a sticky note. For closure. The beauty of it? Melody's maid of honor, Whitney, worked at the venue as an events coordinator. She wasn't working that day, but her coworker would definitely mention the cancellation when it processed through their system. I turned off my phone and went to Archer's place to wait. The explosion started at exactly 9:23 p.m. Archer was monitoring social media since I'd blocked everyone preemptively. According to him, Whitney had posted a story from the bachelorette party, them all in matching bride tribe shirts at some upscale wine bar downtown, happy and celebrating, oblivious. Then, at 9:23, the venue's after-hours system sent an automated confirmation email to Melody about the cancellation. She'd insisted on being copied on all vendor communications to stay organized. Archer showed me Whitney's next story, posted at 9:31. Emergency. Does anyone know where Hunter is? The text to Archer started at 9:35. I had him screenshot everything for documentation purposes. Whitney. Is Hunter with you? Melody is freaking out. The venue says he canceled everything. This has to be a mistake, right? Archer. No mistake. Whitney. OMG, why? Archer. Ask Melody about Zane. Radio silence for 20 minutes. Then, you're overreacting and ruining her life over nothing. Archer. Cool story. She's literally sobbing. Sucks to suck. The next wave came from Melody's mom, Barbara. 17 missed calls to Archer's phone. She didn't have his number before tonight, but apparently got it from someone. The voicemails were gold. This is ridiculous. The wedding is in 3 days. You tell that boy to answer his phone right now. We have family flying in from across the country. He's being a child. Melody did nothing wrong. We're going to sue him for the deposits. Good luck with that, Barbara. Everything was in my name. But here's where it gets really good. Around 11 p.m., Zane himself started texting Archer. How did all these people get his number? Zane. Bro, tell Hunter this is all a misunderstanding. Melody was just being nice because my dad's sick. Nothing was going to happen. He's really going to throw away everything over 2 nights? Tell him to be reasonable. Archer just kept responding with, My guy, you literally told the groom that you were going to spend 2 nights with his bride before the wedding. What did you think would happen? Zane. It's not like that? Archer. It's exactly like that. Melody said he was cool with it. Zane. Does he seem cool with it to you? The best part? Melody's cousin posted a video from the bachelorette party aftermath. Melody was sitting on the bathroom floor of the wine bar, still in her bride-to-be tiara, mascara streaked, while her friends tried to console her. Someone in the background said, Maybe Zane can help you figure this out. And Melody screamed, Zane is why this is happening. So much for nothing was going to happen. Thursday morning came with the realization that this was supposed to be the day Melody went to Zane's for her first night of closure. I woke up to Archer showing me his phone. Melody had made a public Facebook post at 3 a.m. To everyone coming to celebrate our wedding this Saturday, it is with a heavy heart that I announce the wedding has been postponed due to Hunter's mental health crisis. He's struggling with severe anxiety and paranoia, making false accusations about me. I'm committed to standing by him through this difficult time as we get him the help he needs. Please keep him in your prayers. Mental health crisis? Paranoia? 2 could play at that game. I made my first and only public response. Posted the screenshot of her original text about Zane, followed by, No mental health crisis, no paranoia. Melody informed me she'd be spending the 2 nights before our wedding with her ex-boyfriend. I wished her well and canceled the wedding. Simple as that. Also, Zane's dad isn't sick. He posted photos from his golf tournament yesterday. Do what you will with that information. The comments were instant chaos. But Thursday afternoon brought the real circus to town. Melody showed up at Archer's apartment with reinforcements. Barbara, her dad, Roger, Whitney, and Zane. They actually brought Zane. Archer filmed it through his Ring doorbell, with my permission to share later. Barbara immediately started. Hunter Walsh, you open this door right now. We need to discuss this like adults. Roger, son, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but you're going to fix this. Do you know how much we've spent? Melody, Hunter, please. You're not being rational. Just talk to me. Then Zane, this absolute clown, goes, Bro, come on. Don't do her like this. Archer's voice through the speaker. Did you seriously bring the dude she was going to spend 2 nights with to convince him to take her back? Silence. Then Melody. It wasn't like that. Archer. What was it like? Melody. I needed to make sure there were no unresolved feelings before I got married. Archer. And were there? Longer silence. Melody. That's irrelevant. Archer. It's extremely relevant. Roger tried a different approach. Look, we have 150 guests coming. The rehearsal dinner is tomorrow. You can't do this to us. Archer. He already did. Then Zane tried to step up. If I could just explain to Hunter, man to man. Archer. My brother, you are literally the last person who should be here right now. Whitney finally spoke up. Melody, maybe we should go. Melody lost it. No, he doesn't get to do this. He doesn't get to humiliate me like this. Hunter, I know you're in there. You're being pathetic. You're going to regret this for the rest of your life. I was doing you a favor by marrying you. A favor? There it was. Archer. Anything else, Barbara? Barbara. We're going to make sure everyone knows what kind of person he really is. Archer. Cool. Hunter already posted the receipts. Anything else? They stood there for another 10 minutes making threats before building security showed up and escorted them out. But the Thursday night update was the best. Melody went to Zane's apartment anyway, posted a story from his couch with wine glasses visible. Sometimes the universe shows you where you're really meant to be. Guess the wedding being canceled didn't affect those closure plans. Friday morning started with a call from the country club, where the rehearsal dinner was supposed to be. Melody was there with Barbara, demanding they honor the reservation, even though I'd canceled it. The manager called me because I was the account holder. Mr. Walsh, there seems to be some confusion. Miss Brenner is here insisting the dinner is still happening. There's no confusion. It's canceled. She's saying she'll pay for it herself. That's fine, but it needs to be a new reservation under her name. The Walsh-Brenner rehearsal dinner is canceled. Understood. Oh, and sir, she asked us to charge your card for her new reservation. When we explained we couldn't do that, she became upset. I heard screaming in the background. Is that her now? I'm afraid so. She's demanding to speak to you. I'm good, thanks. Have a nice day. An hour later, Roger called from a different number. I'd blocked his. Hunter, this is Roger. I'm at the country club. They're threatening to call the police on Melody and Barbara. Is this really what you want? I want nothing. I'm just living my life. You're destroying hers. She made her choices, Roger. 2 nights with Zane. You're ending everything over a text about 2 nights? Roger, did she tell you she posted from Zane's apartment last night after the wedding was already canceled? Silence. Yeah, I saw that too. Still think I'm overreacting? He hung up. The rehearsal dinner aftermath was documented beautifully on social media by the gossip-loving cousin. Apparently, Melody and Barbara tried to host an alternative celebration at a nearby restaurant. 12 people showed up out of the 60 invited. Zane was one of them. He sat next to Melody. Her own sister left when she saw that. But Friday night was legendary. Melody decided to do a live video on Instagram. She was clearly emotional, though trying to maintain composure. I just want everyone to know the truth. Hunter is painting me as some cheater, but I never cheated. I was just trying to get closure. Zane and I had unfinished business, and I wanted to enter my marriage with a clean slate. Hunter said he was fine with it. Someone commented, "Girl, you're literally at Zane's apartment right now." She tried to adjust the camera angle, but everyone had already seen Zane's distinctive wall art. We're just talking. Another comment. Didn't you say Hunter was having a mental health crisis this morning? He is. He's being irrational. Who cancels a wedding over a text? Comment. Someone whose fiancée told them she was spending 2 nights with her ex. Melody's composure started cracking. You don't understand. Zane and I have history. Hunter never understood that connection. Someone screen recorded the whole thing. The video ended with Zane trying to take her phone away and saying, "Babe, you're making it worse." Saturday morning, I woke up at a resort in the mountains. Yeah, I went on a solo trip instead of wallowing. Peaceful, beautiful, no drama. Archer kept me updated though, and frankly, the stories from my would-be wedding day were too good not to share. The venue had apparently become a circus. Despite everything being canceled, about 30 guests showed up, because Melody and Barbara had been telling people it was just postponed and to come anyway for a celebration of love. The venue was hosting a different event, a corporate retreat. So there were Melody's confused relatives in formal wear wandering around, while tech bros had their team-building exercises. Barbara tried to strong-arm the venue into giving them a space. The venue manager called the police. Again. Melody's sister, Dana, the one who left the rehearsal dinner, texted Archer, "This is insane. Mom and Melody are trying to convince people Hunter had a psychotic break. Meanwhile, Melody's been at Zane's since Wednesday. Dad found out Zane's been divorced twice and owns nothing. No house, no car, nothing. But Melody's acting like he's her soulmate. I'm so embarrassed." The plot twist? Zane's sick dad, who started this whole thing, showed up at the venue because he thought his son was getting married. Zane had apparently told him that. When the dad found out the truth, that Zane had broken up an engagement and his supposed cancer was being used as a lie, he lost it in front of everyone. "You told people I had cancer to sleep with an engaged woman. I raised you better than this." Melody tried to intervene. "It's not his fault. Hunter overreacted." Zane's dad turned to her. "You're engaged to another man and spending nights at my son's apartment? You're both trash." Perfect timing. Saturday night, Melody tried one last desperate play. She showed up at the house we'd bought together. She still had her key because I'm not petty enough to change the locks immediately. She texted me a photo of her in her wedding dress, the wedding dress, standing in what used to be our bedroom. "This could have been our night. I'm here if you want to talk." I replied, "You should check your email." I'd sent her notice that I'd already informed the mortgage company I'd moved out and wouldn't be making next month's payment. She couldn't afford the $2,800 solo. "You can't do this." "Did it. Good luck with everything." "Where am I supposed to live?" Zane seems comfortable. She sent 43 voice messages. I didn't listen to any of them. The weeks that followed brought the real fallout. Word had gotten around my office about the wedding cancellation. Though I kept details minimal, my project manager just said people respected how I'd handled myself under pressure. Turns out that kind of decisive action translates well in engineering circles. Melody and Zane are officially together now. They moved in together after she lost the house, into his studio apartment in his mom's basement. Yeah, Barbara and Roger are getting divorced. Turns out Roger was furious when he learned the truth about Zane not being some successful guy Melody had painted him as. He also discovered Barbara had been encouraging the whole closure thing because she thought Zane had money from a settlement. When Roger confronted her, Barbara admitted she'd never liked me because I wasn't ambitious enough. I'm a civil engineer making 85Ks in Denver, but okay. Roger sent me an apology email. Hunter, I'm sorry. I failed as a father. I should have raised her better. You dodged a bullet. I wish I had your courage to walk away. Zane's dad reached out too. Kid, I'm sorry my son is a disappointment. You seem like a good man. His mother and I are cutting him off until he grows up. The best part? Melody's been trying to plan a wedding with Zane. She called the same venue to book it. They declined. She tried 3 other venues in the Denver area. Turns out they all have a blacklist for problematic clients, and Barbara's 2 police incidents got them on it. Dana told Archer that Melody's been complaining that Zane won't propose. He keeps saying, "We don't need a piece of paper. What we have is beyond marriage." She threw a fit at Thanksgiving when Zane mentioned he doesn't believe in marriage anymore after his 2 divorces. According to Dana, Melody screamed, "You ruined my life for nothing." Zane's response, "I thought you loved me for me, not for a wedding." They're still together, miserably from what I hear. She keeps trying to make it look perfect on social media, but people have caught Zane on dating apps. She pretends not to know. As for me, I took about 6 months to really process everything. Not just the betrayal, but the realization of how many warning signs I'd ignored. The constant comparisons to Zane, the way she'd hide her phone, her entitled attitude about our relationship. Got promoted at work. Turns out not having wedding stress and relationship drama significantly improved my focus and performance. My supervisor even mentioned that my problem-solving approach had become more decisive and clear-cut. Started dating Chloe from my rock climbing group about a year later. She thinks the whole story is both hilarious and horrifying, says she would have done the same thing. We're taking things slow. No rush, no pressure, no ex-boyfriends needing closure. Funny thing about dating in your 30s after going through something like this. You develop a pretty good radar for red flags. Chloe's refreshingly straightforward. When she texts, she shows me the screen if I'm nearby. When her ex reached out around Christmas, she told me immediately and asked if I wanted to see their conversation. That's what transparency actually looks like. I ran into Whitney at a coffee shop last week. She apologized for her part in everything, said Melody had been texting Zane for months before that, Wednesday, planning their closure nights. She'd even bought special lingerie for it. Whitney had tried to talk her out of it, but Melody was convinced I was too much of a pushover to do anything about it. Guess she was wrong. The red flags were everywhere in hindsight. The way she'd compare me to Zane constantly. How she'd text him just as friends, but hide her phone. The time she said I was lucky she chose me during an argument. The subtle way she'd undermine my confidence, then act like she was doing me a favor by staying. The wedding would have been a mistake. The divorce would have been expensive and messy. The text about Zane was actually a gift, though I didn't see it that way at first. About 8 months after everything went down, Zane's ex-wife reached out to me on social media. Heard what happened. Welcome to the club of people who escaped that train wreck. BTW, he'll cheat on her within 6 months. He cheated on me with 3 different women during our marriage, I told her. Not my circus anymore. And it really isn't. But the universe has a sense of humor. Last week, Zane's prediction came true in the most ridiculous way possible. Dana sent Archer screenshots. Zane's been active on multiple dating apps, using photos that don't show he's living in his mom's basement. When confronted, according to Dana, Zane told Melody that exploring connections doesn't mean anything, and that she was being controlling for expecting monogamy. Melody apparently threw a lamp at him. They're still together, though. Some people are addicted to drama. Meanwhile, Chloe and I have been talking about moving in together. No rush, no pressure, just a natural progression. She's got her own place, her own career as a physical therapist, her own life. We complement each other instead of one person trying to absorb the other's identity. Last month, we ran into Melody at a grocery store. It was the first time I'd seen her in person since the wedding fiasco. She looked different, tired. The confidence she used to carry was gone, replaced by something brittle and defensive. "Hunter," she said, like she was surprised to see me in my own neighborhood. "Melody." I nodded politely. She looked at Chloe, then back at me. "I heard you got promoted. Congratulations." "Thanks." There was an awkward pause. Then Melody said, "I hope you know I never meant for things to end the way they did." I considered my response carefully. "I think everything ended exactly the way it was supposed to." She flinched a little at that. I made a mistake. One mistake." "It wasn't one mistake, Melody. It was a series of choices that showed me who you really were. The text was just the moment I finally paid attention." Chloe squeezed my hand, not possessively, but supportively. Melody noticed. "Well," Melody said, forcing brightness into her voice, "I'm happy now. Zane and I are planning to get married soon." "Good for you," I said, and I meant it. Not because I thought it would work out, but because her happiness wasn't my responsibility anymore. We left her standing there in the produce section, probably composing her next social media post about unexpected encounters and growing as a person. In the car, Chloe asked, "How do you feel about that?" Honestly, nothing, and that's exactly how it should feel. That evening, as we sat on my deck watching the sunset over the mountains, I thought about how different my life looked now compared to what I had planned 2 years ago. I'd expected to be married, maybe trying for kids, locked into a path that seemed right at the time. Instead, I'm with someone who challenges me to be better without making me feel inadequate. I've got a job I love that's actually advancing because I can focus properly. I've got peace of mind that comes from knowing I won't compromise my self-respect for anyone. The financial hit from the wedding cancellation stung for a while. $4,700 in lost deposits isn't nothing on an engineer's salary. But I got some money back from vendors who were understanding about the situation, and honestly, it was the cheapest lesson in self-worth I could have gotten. Dana still updates Archer occasionally about the Melody and Zane show. Apparently, they're planning a courthouse wedding because no venues will take them. Barbara has been calling around trying to find someone who will host a reception, but word has gotten around about the drama. Roger remarried last month to a woman he met in his divorce support group. According to Dana, he seems genuinely happy for the first time in years. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to a family is for the toxic member to remove themselves from the equation. The biggest surprise has been how much respect I gained from people who witnessed the whole thing. My colleagues, friends, even family members have mentioned how impressed they were with the way I handled it. Clean, decisive, no unnecessary drama on my end. One of the senior partners at my firm pulled me aside a few months later and said, "The way you handled your personal crisis showed real leadership qualities. We need people who can make tough decisions under pressure." I never thought of it as leadership, just self-preservation. But I guess there's overlap there. These days, when people ask for relationship advice, I tell them the same thing. Pay attention to how someone treats you when they think they've got you locked down. Pay attention to how they handle conflict. Pay attention to whether they see you as an equal partner or something they've settled for. Most importantly, pay attention to your own gut instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore red flags because you've already invested time and emotion. The sunk cost fallacy applies to relationships just as much as business decisions. I still live in Denver, still love my job, still climb on weekends with Chloe and our group. The difference is, now I know what it feels like to be with someone who genuinely respects me. Someone who would never dream of spending 2 nights with an ex for closure right before our wedding. Not my circus anymore, and life is good because of it. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is discovering exactly where you draw the line and having the strength to enforce it when someone tries to cross it.